Okay. So, my name is Monica Castaphany. Yes. And I have two friends of mine, and we're going to be speaking on mindset today. Mindset. So, we have Miss CC Cassandra. And then we have Miss Brenda Lee, aka Shelly. So we have both of these ladies, and we're going to speak on mindset because when it comes to anything that you do in life, when it comes to business, when it comes to school, when it comes to just your everyday operation, it's a mindset. And anytime that if you want to jump into doing a business, jump in just doing a business, a lot of persons always say, okay, well, I need to see how my finances are. I need to see if I can get the time, and those are the main things. Time and money is always the main thing when it comes to starting your business or, doing something that pertains to any type of money. But those to me are excuses. I don't know about you guys, but that is an excuse to me. And at the end of the day, the first thing you have to do is switch that mindset. Because if you don't have a business mindset to start that business, you're not going to start it. You're not going to take the first step to say, okay, I'm not going to take that leap of faith, put it like that. Because a lot of times it's a leap of faith in order to go in the direction that you want to go, but your mindset has to be there. And if that ain't changed, you can't go anywhere else. So what are your thoughts?
Brenda, you go first.
One thing is clear to me, having traveled or lived as long as I have, you have to be mindful of other people's, what you call excuses. For them, they're reasons. Because I've learned for myself, I've had to develop my mindset, okay? Until I develop that mindset, and that's going to be accomplished through my exposure to people that are in a position where I want to go, and people who I'm going to trust to help me get there. Those reasons are powerful to me, and they need to be handled very carefully. Otherwise, you could blow somebody out of the water, trying to help them. So you have to be respectful of that transition for each person, where the reason have to be metamorphed into a mindset, and you have to be gentle with them. That being said, yeah, absolutely. Any change, like a habit, you have to develop that mindset for it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in mediocrity. And just like that crab in that water, that boiling water is just sitting there, not knowing that eventually they're going to be cooked. You get complacent, and until you open your eyes, open your mind, trust somebody, to help you get to where you need to get to. Yeah. So absolutely. I believe in mindset.
Exactly.
And developing a mindset for anything, not just for a business, but just to kind of get by every day in life. I feel like you need to have a passion for whatever you're trying to pursue. And sometimes you might need a fire lit underneath that ass. So you might be comfortable in a certain position, but then it's like, okay, when you start to, maybe you're working in a certain job and you feel like, okay, for instance, myself, I feel like I'm working a certain job and I'm scared to branch out on my own because I'm scared of failing. And I got comfortable where I am. So long story short, I feel like when you when it's time to shift, when it's time to move forward, like you feel a pit in your stomach when you're like going to work every day and you feel like you're not happy, and you could do things differently. You don't have to work under no one else. And it's like, okay, when you're going to work and you know you're working for someone else and it's like, oh my gosh, well, I have to go. I feel like when you start to develop those feelings, like I think it's time to go. And I think it's time for you to venture out and go on your own. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
To take that leap of faith.
I'm taking that leap of faith.
And you would definitely be great with it. I don't know what leap of faith and direction you go, but you're an amazing cook.
I appreciate it.
Yes, she is.
Thank you.
And you, like, when I first met you, it was at another friend's place. And the way you dealt with everything, like you did the work that you were there to do, but then you would clean up and then you would package in food and all of these things. And I don't even know if that was what you were there to do. I really don't.
I wasn't.
I'm like, you were doing the bar.
Right.
But you broke down the foods, and I'm like, I could use her too. But I wasn't doing events at that time. So it wasn't like I was going to be able to use you no time soon because I wasn't doing Brownin Entertainment. You know, that's my business. But I wasn't doing that.
Right.
I was doing travel and I was doing the real estate, things like that. But I watched all of that you were doing. And I'm like, this girl is doing the most because I didn't even know you cooked.
Right.
That first time I met you, I didn't even cook. Were you there the first time?
No, Brenda Lee wasn't there. Brenda Lee wasn't there.
So the first time we met, she was at Antoinette's, and you know, she's another shout out to her. She's another friend of ours, and you were cooking. I mean, you were doing the bartending.
Yep.
And me and you just sat back there and we talked about travel. We talked about different things, and you know, and I was just like, I love her vibe. Didn't even know you knew my kid.
Right.
Like he was my kid supervisor, manager, I don't know whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just like, okay, I like. And then when we had our own little, you know, little group, I called us Goal Sisters. That's what I was calling y'all. I was calling y'all my Goal Sisters.
Goal Sisters.
Sisters.
I like that.
So I'm like, so when we got together, I'm like, okay, I'm going over my Goal Sisters.
Yeah.
We're going to kick it. This,
I like that.
Another. We always have a good time. Always had a good time. And then I invited Shelly to, what was it? The first one, was it the Christmas one? Okay, so and I invited Shelly and Shelly fit right in.
She did.
She fit right in.
I want to, if I may add, I wasn't initiated to the Gold Sisters at that time.
You were.
Well, I was.
For me.
After that.
You were.
I appreciate that.
You
appreciate that.
Because you were in on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it wasn't just those three. It was all a week. When I started saying Gold Sisters, it was all a week. All, you know, the five of you and including me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was it. It was like, you know, there was other couples, you know, a couple people come and go and things like that. But I consider you guys, because you guys were the ones that I was like, well, we should start doing something together. You know what I mean? And everybody's mindset wasn't there. Everybody's mindset wasn't there to follow through with the, you know, the business aspects of where I was hoping we can go. You know what I mean? But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Everybody is not always there or on the same level pecking as you. You know, it might be later or it might not be ever.
Right.
Because everybody don't want to have a business.
Right.
Everybody don't want that responsibility.
Right.
And that's okay. It's okay. It's a shame that somebody sees more in another person than they see in themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I come back to that with, you know, you as an amazing cook and what you do behind all of that. You could be a wonderful private dinner chef. You know what I mean?
Right.
We got the space right here.
Right.
You can make that happen. We got this space right here. Romantical dinner. Flowers on the bed.
And the lights hanging. Candles
we got
going
dimmers
around,
up in
roses
here.
laid out.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that right there is just, you know, I see that for you. But you may not see it for yourself because you may not believe, right, well, I'm tired of cooking. I don't want to do this cooking.
And that's what it was for me.
I know.
That's what I was struggling with that since I've known you.
I know.
I was struggling with that since I've known you. And I was running away from it. I was running away from it with getting my CDL, with hanging up a chef coat, throwing those pants away. I'm not doing this shit no more. And I had someone talk to me the other day. It was weird because some things have been going on at my job. And it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of forcing me to go down this path, right? Like, so I'm already struggling. Like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? Is this my passion? And the most important thing is this my purpose? I feel like I need to know, out of anything, I need to know what God has me here to do, right? That's the most important thing for me. And so these past several weeks, I've been struggling with that. Like seriously, I think that's why it's been hard for me to go to work too, because I'm like, I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm kind of thinking like, okay, well, when I did make the decision to do it, like I've been blessed after I made the decision to do it. And I'm sorry, I have to rewind a little bit. So maybe a month and a half ago, I met this lady at the store. It was so weird. It was an older lady. And then she's kind of like talking to, like we met each other in the food section. I was picking up some ginger and she was picking up some produce. Long story short, I tripped over my buggy. And then she's like, make sure you don't fall now. I said, oh, I know. Thank you, Mel. I sure won't. And long story short, we started talking about food in the middle of the produce aisle. And so then she starts talking about all these recipes. She's from the South and she had a farm, when she was younger. Long story short, she was telling me about all these recipes and I'm like, okay, that would sound good. I'm gonna have to try that. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that. And then she's like, okay, now I know that you're a young lady, but you're not that young where you shouldn't know all these things that I'm telling you. You should have, did some of these things. And I was like, you'll be surprised at what I do when, as a profession. Mm-hmm. And she said, what is it? And I said, I'm a chef. And she said, oh my goodness. So anyway, I was telling her why, I just kind of felt like I lost my passion, for what I do. And then I was telling her who I cooked for and whatnot. She said, you know what? She said, that's what your drive needs to be every single day. She said, you need to remember who you're cooking for. Or if you get at a certain age where you can't cook for yourself anymore, you need to remember you will want someone to do what you're doing for these people for you. Wow. And so for me, that's what keeps me driven every time I go to work when I don't want to go to work. Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward. So here it is again. I'm struggling like, okay, am I supposed to be doing this? Like, God, is this what you want me to be doing? I just got this word from this guy. We never spoke about like my passion or me struggling with like, what I'm doing as a profession. And he's like one of the supervisors at one of the houses. So long story short, he called me for another issue. But apparently he had to tell me something and he was scared to tell me because he didn't know how to approach me because we never spoke. And then he said, so I said something to him, which made him feel like that was a perfect opportunity for him to tell me what he needed to tell me. Right. He was like, I have a word for you. And I got this word for you 2 days ago. And I'm like, you got a word for me 2 days ago? And he said, yes. And he said, I know it was a time where you were being blessed. And you feel like because you were being blessed, you feel obligated to stay at your job and in your position. He said, but that was your season of being blessed. Oh. And he said, if you don't know it, what you're doing for the participants, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be cooking healthy meals for our people and help them get back on track, being healthy. He said, this is your time to shift. You need to move. God is telling you to move right now. And if you don't move, you're going to be stuck for another 7 to 8 years. Wow. And I was struggling with this for a few weeks. And I'm like, and I'm hearing this from this guy. And I just had this pit in my stomach. I'm like, all right. So in that, I heard 2 things. I heard that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So that was a relief for me. And then I heard I'm supposed to be helping our people. So. Wow. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Because food is your passion. Even though you do it every day, I know food is your passion. I know you love food. You love different seasons. You love different things with food. But you just maybe just lost your way to why you were doing what you're doing.
Right.
And that's amazing.
Thank you.
I love food.
I appreciate it.
I love food.
I guess I did too.
See, this was meant for you. You needed this. You needed, like, there's, like, I so wish that your daughter could have been here too. And she,
Yes.
oh my gosh, she so wanted to be here. Because we spoke a little bit on mindset. And like I said, she was one of the ones that's the reason why I wanted to do this. And I was going to do like basically invite people and we talk about that. And then I was just like, I don't know how. I'm not like a motivational speaker, nothing like that.
Right.
So, I don't know how to do that with like a lot of people.
Influencer.
I don't.
You just don't know it.
Yes, she is.
But I just didn't know. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to do like a little discussion type thing. That's when my kids was like, Mom, that's a podcast. I'm like, okay. I guess I'm like the old people in the group and stuff.
No, you're not.
So it's just like, but she was like I said, like her, and they was just coming to get their banana bread. And we were just talking. We just like the one I wish Monique could have been here today as well, because me and her started talking about certain things, and there's a lot of things that she wanted to do. And she was like, oh, well, for example, she was like, oh, I need to check my finances. I'm like, honey, you don't need to check your finances. You already know what your finances are. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. I said, the thing is you got to change your mindset. You got to change that. And then whatever it is that you want to do, just jump and do it. And then figure out later, we're women. We always figure shit out. We do. We're women.
Right.
So exactly. So I'm like, and she was like, you're right. And then me and her got talking about the mindset. And then she was like, I was like, you know what? That's a lot of times, a lot of us don't understand that this here is the first thing that needs to change. Because we're stuck in the past. A lot of us are stuck in the past, and a lot of us are stuck on the way that we were raised and brought up.
Right.
I have my mind is always been as an entrepreneur. Because it's the fact that I don't know what it was I was watching. I think it was a podcast. I think it was a podcast. And I think it was on David's podcast. And a guy was just like, we emulate what we see. But I always known that, but I never really looked at it as me and my kids following in my example on that. You know what I mean? Because I didn't teach my kids fully about money. I didn't really teach my kids how to be an entrepreneur and things like that. I didn't even give my kids what do you call it? Allowance. I didn't give my kids allowances.
I didn't either. I couldn't afford it.
Like, you never give us allowance. Like, there's a lot of people that give their kids allowance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I taught them how to save. That was one thing that I always did. I wanted to make sure they knew how to save money, because that's the main thing my father taught to me, and I only had my father for 8 years. So that stuck with me. Okay, wow. You need to save money.
Wow.
But I saw my father, he was a general contractor. He has his own contractor business. I always knew I would go into real estate, but I didn't know the extent of it.
Right.
But then he was a general contractor. He didn't own like properties. His mother, who I don't even know what she looked like.
Right.
Where she had properties. She was the first one to come here and have her own home. You know what I mean? Own her own home. She, she had a speakeasy. This woman, they said she had parties, never wore the same dress twice. I'm like, ooh, that is me.
Yeah.
Yes, that is me. I was like, I don't even know what this woman looks like. All I have is a picture of her in her casket.
Wow.
And that's not a good picture.
In her casket.
In her
Wow.
casket. Because my father has a photo book of the dead, basically. He's in there too. Oh yeah, it's upstairs.
Wow.
Yeah. Southerners had books of dead. They took pictures and they kept them in photo books, and it's just dead.
Wow.
There's people in their casket.
Okay.
So for that, I watched him for those short 8 years. And that's one thing I'm always, jealous of people of when they had their father for a long time, because I didn't have mine. Mm-hmm. And I love my father like cook food. Mm-hmm. I did. I loved him like cook food. And I wish he could have met my children. But, my kids saw me. I worked. I did work. But I was always a hustler. Always a hustler. Like, I was watching, what was it? Somebody, I think it was On Your Leisure podcast, and the guy was just like, it was on this, I think, Instagram, and he was just like, your first job, teach your kids. What they said was teach your kids, about business and things like that. And their first business could be like babysitting. I'm like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. I didn't even think babysitting was my first job. Mm-hmm. It was just it. Yep. And that was my first job. Yep. I started babysitting at like maybe 8 or 9. Mm-hmm. No, I won't say 8 or 9. I would say about 10. I would say about 10. I was babysitting because one of my sisters, half the time she never came home. Yeah. I always had her child. Yep. And then my other sister, her and her baby's father always, they end up getting married eventually, but I always had their kids too, babysitting them in the evening time. Mm-hmm. So I always had these kids, and I'm like, why the hell am I watching these kids? This kid all the time, because the mother ain't there to deal with it. So I gotta get up, take her to school, pick her up from school. Yep. And I always had her at night. Her mother didn't come home sometimes. So guess what? I had to deal with this child. And I'm not old enough to deal with these kids. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I couldn't just leave my niece.
That's right.
I couldn't do that.
Right.
But that was my first job, my first hustle at this age. And then it went to another level of hustling. I ain't gonna say no name. After I had my son, I had my child young, 15. Mm-hmm. Like, mm-hmm. I'm not trying to be out here working and trying to finish high school. So what did I do? I started hustling. You know what I mean? And that was it's a business. Right. Like I was watching another, these podcasts I be watching is amazing. I'm just saying. and it just made me feel like okay, I'm there, and I knew where I was. I didn't know where I was going at that time. Mm-hmm. I didn't. Right. If he didn't come along, mind you, that's my son over here who's going to be doing all the editing for these videos. Yes, he is. But if my son didn't come along, I'm going to be dead or in prison. You know what I mean? Right. And I didn't tell him this till 2 years ago when we was on our way to New York, because we was driving in New York going to Italy. Actually, we was in Italy at this time last year. But it was just like, okay, wow. I'm sitting here and I'm hustling. My mother didn't care where I was or what I did or anything like that. And that was another business. You know what I mean? And then that business grew into another business of a legal business. I did candles and gift baskets. Mm-hmm. I used to make my own candles. I made the gift baskets and all these things. I made candles out of stemware. I love it. And it was crazy. And then I just went to something else and then something else and then something else. If I would have never started these little small hustles, which you already know I'm gonna hustle all day. All day
in your sleep.
That I wouldn't be more than likely where I am today. Yeah. And then my kids. Oh God, thank you, Jesus, for my kids.
Thank you, Jesus.
This one
they made you grind.
They're doing their own thing. They're hustlers too. Yep. This one, book smart. Mm-hmm. I mean, amazing. Mm-hmm. Self-taught kid. Mm-hmm. My daughter, hustle smart all day. Mm-hmm. They're me. They're two parts of me. Yep. Book smart, street smart. Yep. Yep. I mean, Malia ain't like street, but she's the hustle smart. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's amazing because They both ain't got no jobs right now.
Right.
You know, my mechanic always be like, you ain't got no job, Tommy. I be like, I ain't no job, but I got a lot of work to do.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
The generational wealth ain't gonna build itself.
That's right.
But they obviously watch me. I didn't have to teach it. They watched me.
Mm-hmm.
And now they are where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And now my baby just put in his first offer on a house.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
That's beautiful.
it's crazy.
That is
it's amazing.
beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm appreciative
That's
of
awesome.
all these things. And if I didn't show, not just teach, because we try to teach ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to teach our kids certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to college just so that I can't say I forced them to go back to go to school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm like almost $170,000 in debt from student debt.
Yes.
Cause I'm 4 classes away from a master's.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that master's. I'm not finishing it. At the end of the day, I'm not going to because I really didn't need it. I only really went back because I didn't want to be that parent forcing my kids to go to college, and I didn't. They didn't go. They don't have that debt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But my son is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, she's still getting there.
It's okay.
She's still getting
Still
there.
amazing.
But she's still doing her thing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And that's just amazing right there in itself.
Right.
So with the mindset, I didn't teach it, but I showed it.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? And even coming back to you when it was just like you said, well, you know, a lot of people, what did you say? You said a lot of people may not know that they need that or something.
Yeah.
They have to develop it, and it's not an excuse. I still say it's an excuse because we can't be a product of our environment. You know what I mean? And I know if we're not around it, it is a hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like you don't know what it is that you want to do and then you just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I love the fact when somebody do know they want to do it. But like you said, they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah.
So that is our job.
It's degrees.
That's our job. Because ignorance is bliss. You know what I mean? Just like I was talking about the crypto thing. Oh, I was ignorant as hell.
Mm-hmm,
And that was a bad ignorance because I could have probably made a lot of money in the Bitcoin industry.
Sun concurs.
That's what you're capable of.
Uh-huh. Yep.
But I was ignorant. Like when he started showing it, when I seen him looking, like I swear, I didn't know this kid even cared about money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cause he was never one like, Brenda, what you want for your birthday? What you want for Christmas? Nothing. Or it'll be something like I always remember the one Christmas he only asked for a Japanese English dictionary. What kid asked for just a dictionary?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like
Wow.
I knew he wanted a guitar. I bought him a guitar. He taught himself that shit.
Wow.
I don't buy guitars.
Right.
He didn't ask for lessons. He didn't ask for me. Okay, now you got me this guitar. I need to go and get some lessons.
Mm-hmm.
My dad would have, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so like in our kids, what in y'all kids do y'all see certain things where the mindset, you know, is a you're the reason of their mindset or something like that. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whoever first.
So you haven't said much. I'm gonna let you take this.
I know, because I keep talking.
No, you're fine.
I have two like you, and I'm a combination of what I was taught because I was raised by a single mom, and we, being Jamaicans, you have your parents and you have your relationship, and there's no switching. You know what your boundaries are. I'm the child, you're the parent, And, now that I'm a parent, you look back and you say, how did she do it with the little that you saw that she had, but you never felt bereft of nothing. You never felt cheated. You never felt that you went without. You just had what you needed. So when it came to my kids, it was one thing that was paramount. It was a respect. Okay, I'm not your friend.
Exactly.
And I'm not your playmate.
Right.
And you have your place, and that's as a child. And you're subjected to my rule. Now, I love you like cook food, okay? Just like my mom demonstrated to me, even though I grew up with a village mentality, she had friends that were like moms to us. So when she gets like all her rockers, we can say that now, but then whatever came out of her mouth was a law. But her friends will say, like, Eddie, ease up. They're good kids. They come from you. You taught them. So, like, ease up. So we'll get to go somewhere that she said, hell no, they ain't going. Because our friends came to our house. We didn't go to theirs. So, but it was the same thing. Same thing with mine. So, it's like, I knew that what I put into them, including the love, and I always, in my mind, the same way my mom said to us, and she said it verbally, she did not want us to do without or suffer. I mean, which to us was not suffering, but we don't know half of what went into her. We just know what she showed us. And the love, all of that, I always want to make sure that they never doubted that I love them. So when I do something, I ask you to do something that you may not like, but it's out of love for you because I see you going further than you are right now. So when it came to like school and all of that, it's like I'm an educator. I work in industries from I was 16. We were in school one week and we were in corporate America the next week, and we shared a job with another student. So I had that work mentality from day one. So when it came to school, it's like I knew from having worked in HR, from having worked in corporate America, what that degree meant. So I always said to them, I went to school, but because my mom gave me the choice, I took all the classes that meant something, the important ones. The prerequisite flew out the window. I wanted the reading, writing, and arithmetic because I was in corporate America. And like you, when I'm in a job, I'm always looking to the next one. What do I need to learn about the next one so when the opportunity comes, I'm ready. I can be considered. At the same time, I'm steep in this one. I'm learning it. I'm looking here. I'm looking there. Anything I could teach you or learn, I'm not going to withhold it. So I was that same way with my kids. So when it came to college, yeah, you're going to get that bachelor's degree. What you do with it is entirely up to you. But it's my responsibility to give you that head start. Okay? And you're capable of it. You have nothing better to do for the next 4 years. But the one thing I did not do, I did not burden them with the cost of a status. I sent them to state school. And when they graduated, I said, this is your biggest bill. Treat it like your rent. Because you're living home and you are, both of them gainfully employed from they were in school. And when they came out, they got good jobs. This is your biggest debt, It's small from my point of view, but for you, it's the biggest one. Treat it like it's your rent. Knock it out. Okay? So, they'll tell you now, I wish I hadn't gone to college, and not look at them like, did you have a choice? I mean, I felt that was my gift to you. And if you stop, like now that you're grown, they feel that they can make their own decisions, and you have to respect the fact that, you taught them to be independent thinkers. So sometimes you have to like step back And I consider it a privilege when they let me into their decision making, because they could have asked their friend, they could have asked a neighbor over the other fence, they could have asked anybody, but they chose to ask me. So, when I look at them, one's a type A, she's like boom, 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 boom. And the other one, she's a thinker. But I will say one thing though, when it comes to money, I was not the best money manager. But what I did do, I chose well about the people I surround myself with. People whose value I respected, people whose opinion I respected because how they felt about me and I felt about them. So when my Pittsburgh mom, Miss Bland, said, Brenda, you don't need another job. You need to handle what you're making better. I listened. Now, mind you, she was watching the kids, and while I went to that second job, she didn't say give it up. She said you need to handle what you're making better. So she allowed me to put on my thinking cap. And that's what I do with them. I'm always telling them mental math, mental math. Think. Common sense is so underrated, but it is so important. Think on your feet. Okay? Don't let somebody tell you who you are. Don't let somebody tell you acting white. Don't tell somebody tell you this, that, and the other. Everything that is in front of you, that is put in front of you, that you can reach, it belongs to one and one only, and that's our Father, and we are all His children.
Right.
None more favored than the other. So you have to look at who you belong to and say, whatever it is that's in front of me, it's mine. But again, like Monica said, like what we're all here discussing, it's a question of if maturity, mentality, mindset, and everything comes in its own space and time. And it involved nurturing. I would like to think I'm brought up in the right environment, nature and in nurture, but it comes to a point where you have to like sit back and just look on and wonder, look on and wonder like, oh my gosh, those are my gifts,
right?
Those are my gifts. And look how they're flowering, they're blossoming, Sometimes you want to kill them dead. Honest to God, you want to kill them dead. But when you look back at it, you're like, oh my God, that's my mom's. What's a revenge on me? That's my mom. I used to do that to her. But you have to like step back and just let her, because it's not all wine and roses. But oh my gosh, they're definitely gifts. They're definitely gifts.
Right.
I'm gonna say the next subject.
Oh my gosh.
It's their mindset. Don't do my kids like that.
No, because I don't want to run over the time. I would just say,
you know about that.
I would just say what I instilled in my kids. I had my kids when I was 15 too. I had twins, boy and a girl.
I'd have died. I'm just saying I'd have died. 2 at one time, Jesus.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I would say, I put everything that I knew as a child.
Right.
I was a child raising children.
Right.
I put everything that I knew into my kids. And it was like they were going on a journey with me from being a child to being a young adolescent still, to being a young adult, to being a young woman. So everything that life was throwing at me, like my kids were on a journey with me. So what I learned, that's what they were learning. That's the best way I can describe that. The mindset I would say that my kids have that's like me is most definitely they know how to survive. They most definitely know how to survive. I was not the best money manager because I was robbing Pete to pay Paul. Like pretty much the whole time I was raising them. There was
you
no
had 2 babies at one time.
Yeah, there was no no choice of having life insurance. It was like you have to get this rent paid, you get this car note paid, you pay this car insurance. You get the money for food because there was no food stamps. I was like maybe a couple dollars over getting food stamps.
Wow.
So there was no extra luxury of doing this other stuff, or being able to do life insurance or whatnot. And then it was too like I wasn't raised with people who manage money or people who value things that I value now. I wasn't raised that way. So long story short, yeah.
I get it. Like, I was mostly, I had parenting until I was 8.
Okay.
And I know my kids, they probably feel as though I know they appreciate how I raised them, but there are certain things that, they would say, they would beg to differ on how I did things. But at the end of the day, like you said, I was only 15 when I had my first child. But it's crazy because I had my father till I was 8. After that, I didn't have no more parenting. None whatsoever. My biological, that's why I call her that. She would beg to differ, but what she thought was happening just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then even though I was still like, I didn't have, if my one sister who had passed away a couple years ago didn't move back in the house, there would have been nobody even paying me no mind. But I was there, but then I was still dealing with somebody else's kid at that young age. And that's why I always try to tell people. And some people, we always have these haters, and you always got people who look where you at now and they think you just jumped into the positions of where you are now. And I try to tell people at the end of the day, y'all have no idea of my story. My story is a long book. I didn't have guidance. I didn't have nobody tell me what I need to do. I didn't have nobody say, take your ass to school.
Right.
I was about to drop out.
Right.
If I didn't get pregnant with this one here, I don't know where I'd be. That's my blessing child right there.
Yep.
Because I don't know where I would be. I was going my path was going this way, and then when my father died, it was like, poop, 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 poop. That's where my life was going. And I thank God that I had him for those 8 years.
Yes.
Because my father was stern. Oh, he ain't play. He fucked you up. He didn't play.
Right.
You couldn't even, he was one of those parents where, if you was thinking about doing something wrong and you looked over and saw his face.
Right.
You'd be like, geez, no eye contact.
Yeah.
Like, these kids nowadays have no idea. Like, my kids know.
Right.
Because I was stern as well.
Yes.
I was very stern. My daughter's the one that always tries me, but my son, he never really tried. He never, he didn't really do that. He wanted to move out of this apartment. And then he told me he was moving out. And I was like, he's like, how? I wanted to tell you this for a little bit. And I'm like, why you never tell me? He's like, man, I've been scared of you my whole life. And I'm like, you had to be scared of me telling me you wanted to move. I'm okay with that. I ain't mad at you for wanting to move. But look at all this niceness you could have had. But it's crazy because, like I said, there's a lot of people that hate on you, why you're where you at, why you where you are. And I had a struggle. I've never had anybody give me anything. I've never had a mind to just be like, okay, I'm going to take care of this, that, and another. I was always a financier. Always that. I was always the one to make sure my kids were good.
Yep.
As long as I had breath in me, my kids were good.
Yep.
They may not have respected every decisions I made for them or that we did. Like in our move to Jamaica, they didn't care for that. Well, my son's more so the one that didn't really care for that. Malia, she's like borderline. She's like, okay, yeah, if we'd have stayed in Jamaica, I could have graduated earlier. You know what I mean? She's a borderline person.
Wow.
You know, so it's like different things. Yes, I would have stayed there, or no, I didn't like this part, da 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 da. But, you know, I did what I had to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did what I thought was best for us as a family.
Of course.
I always did that, and I made sure it was okay. Mm-hmm. You know, certain things may have, you know, come across, you know, that I didn't even want to tell my son's story. He could tell his own, because I think I'm going to do one with my kids. I think I'm definitely going to do a podcast with my kids and let them discuss certain things, whatever, if they want to discuss certain things. You understand? But I like this podcast thing. But, you know, I had to fight for everything that I have. And it was not easy. Every business that I have, it wasn't because somebody told me or gave me money to start these businesses. I had to start every last business with my money.
That's right.
And I had to make sure I grew that business. Brownin Entertainment, that haven't been in business for 10 years plus, because I just said, okay, I want to do events.
Right.
It didn't happen like that.
Right.
People weren't doing events here.
That's right.
And then the ones that it was because they basically didn't do what I wanted. Dance hall was not how it's supposed to be in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh. And Shelly is attest to that, because she used to go out back in the day. We used to get dressed and go to parties. I was going out, when I came back to America, I was going out sneakers and hats. This is how I would look going to a party. That is not how you go to a dance hall party. Not in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then I was doing that, and I'm like, okay. And that's how I started Brownin Entertainment, of doing events in Pittsburgh. And then, boom, it was, okay, I started real estate. Did that. Still doing that. You know what I mean? And then travel. Travel is me all day.
Right.
I just turned it into a business.
It is. Right.
I mean, so at the end of the day, it's all in what we want for ourselves. And are you going to go after it?
Right.
Because I could have quit a lot of these. Real estate is expensive. It ain't like you could just take up $1 and say, or take up $20 or $200 or $500 and say, boom, I'm going to start this real estate company.
Gosh. Yeah.
No, it's not. You don't do that.
Right.
And even with the entertainment, it takes money. You got to book venues, buy, you know, whatever you need to decorate. You got to have people to help you, because you need a staff. You got to do all these things. You cannot do anything by yourself.
Right.
You always need some type of help.
That is true.
Mastermind team.
And even a lot of people don't understand that as well when it comes to dealing with business, because they're like, oh, I can do this on my own. And I thought so too. I thought I was superwoman. Ain't no superwoman up in here.
That's it.
I'm Queen Monica. But at the end of the day, you know, first off, God is the one that helped me get everywhere, everything that I have.
That's right.
And gave me the direction. Because I didn't even have mentors. I really wish I had mentors in real estate. I really wish I had a mentor to do events. I really wish I had mentors to build the travel industry, the travel business that I'm doing, which is based really network marketing. Because I really don't like to do like just trips on its own, because people don't like to pay. I'd rather do it through the travel club. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I can't do it by myself. We can't do anything on our own. Yes, God is there to guide us and protect us and make sure that we become successful, but we still have to build that circle. And a lot of us think we could do it on our own. And that's another mindset thing that we got to get out of.
Right.
We got to collaborate with somebody. We got to say, okay, we're going to do this. But at the end of the day, too, a lot of people make it hard for us to collaborate.
Right.
Because they're watching money.
That Think and Grow Rich, that book.
Yes.
Think and Grow Rich, that mastermind team. You got to build, you got to trust.
You gotta trust, but you have to know how to trust the right person because everybody is not for you.
Right.
Everybody bring, if you trust that, everybody bring talent to the table. And yeah, it has to be developed. Talent to the table and everyone profit from whatever the result of your combined labor. But that book, that Think and Grow Rich, I read that. That's all I think about. Yeah, there's some things that you think, oh, I can do this by myself. You'll be quicker, you'll be faster, you'll be this, you'll be that. But when you think about it, the real estate transaction, there is profit in it where everyone can benefit, and then you just rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. You know, what you've done successfully, do it again. You know, do it again. And you're going to be culling your team. Not everybody that you start out with is going to stay because they have plans for their mastermind team, and you have to. You always have to
respect that.
Yeah, train and promote. You can't be somebody's reason for wanting to do something. You can't want it more than they want it for themselves.
True.
But you got to train it. You got to promote. You know, you can't be a motivator. No, you got to motivate yourself. Why you're in it. What's your big why? You know? So yeah, that book has been like, not so much a Bible because there's only one, but a guidepost.
Say it again.
I read it. Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
By Napoleon Hill. Yeah. And the richest man in Babylon. It's yay big, but oh my goodness. It's yeah.
Personal development.
Yeah.
Personal development.
I used to be
is amazing.
Yeah, Amway. Way back then. And I got more out of Amway personal development than I did making money. It was network marketing, but one of the things that it was built upon is that Christian concept, you know, the golden rule and the personal development and how you have your alignment with faith, family, and finance. Everything's undergirded by your faith, okay? Your family and your finance. And that never, ever mentally departed from it. But along with life come those, you know, fear of success.
Right.
When you verbalize it and you own it. Yes. Yep. You know, everyone's telling you what you're capable of it because they see you. They see you. They see what you're capable of. They see your fruits, but you don't see it.
Right.
You know, until you develop that mindset, until you take a look and see where you want to go, where you want to be. And sometimes, you know, we believe that we can do it by ourselves because we don't know any better. You know, everybody is doing their own thing.
So how do you think we develop our mindset?
Well, the one thing that we do is the people we surround ourselves with. You know, are you doing the things that I want to be doing? Are you going the same direction I'm going? Do you have the same values that I do? Do you treat people the same way that I do? Because again, one of the things, the golden rule, you know, that we teach our children, we ourselves have to live because, especially we have children. And they go to school and you meet other parents in their journey, their development.
Right.
And can you imagine some of the encounters that you've had with some parents that if you let the devil in you out, later on, you meet that same person in a different environment. But now this environment have impact upon maybe your child's welfare, your child's advancement, your child's health, your this and that. You know, it's like when you take your child to daycare, you have to become that daycare worker, director, best friend, because you're leaving your most precious gift in that person's hand. Yep. And the same way as you come up. So when you see people, you know, you can't see, situations. You can't see conflict. You have to see people. And you have to become who you want to be. You have to be the pacemaker.
Right.
Okay? Because it's like with success. The same person you see down there is the same person you're going to see on the way up. Or gosh forbid, if you don't have the right mindset and, the right alignment, same person you're going to see on the way down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, absolute mindset. Who you surround yourself with and what you put in, is what's going to come out. Yeah.
Yes, girl.
I agree.
Circles is key.
Yeah.
Circles is key. That's why I did with y'all.
Likewise.
Vice versa. Oh my gosh.
I cannot keep nobody around me
Oh my gosh.
that I don't see them moving, or that they're one of those persons that just bring me down. I can't have that around me, because at the end of the day, I need positivity all the time.
Yes.
Positivity all the time. If you're just negative and just always just man, I have no time for that.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
I will start backing away. And there ain't amount of nothing that you could do to bring me back. You know what I mean? Like you guys are always positive. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, well, I feel like really honored that I'm positive
You are.
energy for you.
Why wouldn't you be?
I feel like I'm a positive person.
Of course.
Because I like to surround myself around positive energy. But I'm just, it's like, okay, you feel good when you know that you're giving positive energy to people.
Exactly.
You're so creative.
Yeah.
You're so you're very thorough. Just observing you, just watching you guys. You don't just take a part of something. You look at the whole, and you just grasp it. It's not like it's what's that expression people say? It's not my job. If you look at it as a job, you're gonna push it from you. But if you look at it as something that deserves your best work, your best effort, you're result oriented. Absolutely, you're gonna do a thorough job. You're gonna look at it globally,
I appreciate that.
and then you pull people in.
I appreciate that.
Because you're result oriented.
I don't feel like no one's job is less important than the others. Whether you're the president of the company or the dishwasher, like I feel like at the end of the day, we're all human, and we all need to be treated equally,
Exactly.
or fair. And I pray about that every single day. Like my mentors and my leaders that I feel that are in my life, I feel like I pray about them every day that they treat everyone fairly, and they don't take their power that they have and they just run with it. You know what I mean? They just take advantage of other people. Like, that's important.
Yeah, it's whack.
Yeah, it is.
It's real whack.
Yeah, it is.
I try to treat everybody good, period, because
Most
it comes
definitely.
back.
It sure does.
Karma, she's a girl that don't play, and it comes back.
Right.
So me, when even people do me wrong, I just be like, you know what? You look
Good
like I
rest, Steve.
changed.
Good luck.
I changed, baby. At the end of the day, if I didn't, it wouldn't be good for you. It wouldn't be good for you. It wouldn't be good. But this was like amazing talk.
It
Our
was.
time is ticking down,
Yes,
running
it is.
out.
Yes, it is.
But what I want to say and just leave, like, I love talking to you ladies. I do.
Talking to you too.
And it's always good. It's always great. And I'm glad that you guys was on our first one, on my first little podcast.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll definitely be doing more.
Absolutely.
Because I like this. Like, I'm all for woman empowerment, things like that.
Yes.
So it's always going to be more women on my podcast.
Yes.
It's gonna be more women. I'm all for women empowerment. No offense to my son.
We love you guys. We love
He's amazing.
Men,
but I am for more women empowerment, and I want to have more women on here. Women entrepreneurs, women. I just seen another woman on there, on Facebook earlier today, and they just opened like a workspace, and I'm like, and I already said I was gonna get her on a call. I was gonna get her here to show her the space and show her that I got an event space going on here and everything. and they have a workspace downtown at that. So that's amazing. So, I'm going to actually hit her up and be like, hey, girl, I need you to get on my podcast because, you doing amazing things out here. And, me is definitely always going to be me trying to I'm not going to say trying because I try to take that out of my vocabulary.
Yes.
Me working with other amazing women.
Yes.
Amazing women that's on their way up. Even women that's going through some trials and tribulations because somebody else may be going through the same thing.
Yes.
We all have different times in our lives, different things going on in our lives, and somebody else may need to hear what it is somebody else might have to say. So I am going to do more podcasts. I am going to do it. So definitely, if you guys are seeing this podcast, this is Monica, guest Stephanie, and this is my first little podcast through Brenda Girl Travels YouTube channel. So if you like this podcast, if you like this discussion, click like and subscribe. And subscribe. And if there are other things that you would like for us to discuss or like for me to discuss, just put it in the comments and say, yes, I would like to discuss those. I want you to discuss certain things. And if you would like to be on my podcast, definitely you can just say so. And just like I said, like, subscribe, comment. I am also on Facebook at World of Girl Travels. And I'm also on Instagram at World of Girl Travels as well. My personal pages is Monica Smith Brownin, because that's my name too. Yeah, don't worry. That's my name too. Monica Smith Brownin on Facebook and Monica_Brownin on Instagram. So I have all these channels that you can definitely contact me on, link me on. This will be on YouTube, which is World of Girl Travels as well, my YouTube channel. Like I said, like and subscribe, and you can comment. I have Miss CC Cassandra here, and I have Miss Brenda Lee, aka Shelly Bailey. And my son he's in the background, he's gonna be editing this video. And my son Brandon, Cass Stephanie as well. And we'll definitely post his media company so that if you need somebody to do your editing, videography, and photography, then you can contact him as well. So this is Monica, aka Brownin, World of Girl Travels, and we out here.
All right.
Thank you.